Bronco News. I'm Caitlin and thank you for joining us in this special edition. Weather is our focus today. Let's go to the local weather now. Expect temperatures to slightly drop this week as chilly winds from the Pacific Ocean sweep over San Francisco. The average high will be 65 degrees and the average low will be 45 degrees. There's a slight chance of rain over the weekend, but the climate is expected to stay sunny or partly cloudy. It may become a little windy over the weekend. This wind is formed when the sun, the major source of thermal energy on Earth, heats the surface unevenly, causing differences in the density, temperature, and pressures of the air. The effect of this is that it causes convection, the rising of warm, less dense molecules, and the sinking of cool, dense molecules. Constant convection in the Earth's atmosphere results in horizontal flow of the air, which is wind. Let's look at a 7-day forecast for this week. The temperatures this week are pretty average, mostly staying in the 70s. On Tuesday and Wednesday, however, they will drop to the low 60s, with a chance of rain on Wednesday. Now to the national weather. Here's Cassandra with the nation's weather. Thank you, Caitlin. This weather is all over the place this week, with many fronts moving into the U.S. As the temperature goes in extremes ups and downs, we may see some extreme weather storming up in some states. Huge jet stream winds or fast narrow currents are sweeping across the East Coast, bringing with them a stationary front. The eastern side of the United States will have clear or cloudy weather. Near Florida, the air pressure has been rapidly dropping into extreme low level. As you can see, a hurricane is starting to brew near the Miami area. This hurricane is currently scaled 2 moderate on the Saffir-Simpson scale, but is expected to go to a scale of 3 by the end of this week. There's also a cold front moving from the north to the Nevada area, and another stationary front near Nebraska. Currently, there are many places with low pressure, and it is expected that even more low-pressure areas will be moving into various regions as the week goes by. As low-pressure areas move in, you can expect precipitation and stormy weather. Over here by Michigan, lake effect is occurring as cold winds move along warm lake water while picking up energy and water vapor. This freezes and is deposited on shores, creating snow. As a result, wintry mix is falling down by the Great Lakes. The area near the Appalachian Mountains are also being affected as well. Winds from the west are hitting against the mountains and are forced to move up the mountain. There is warm, moist air on the side of the mountain and colder temperatures near the top of the mountain. And the wind moves up because thermal energy moves from warmer places to colder places. Now to Caitlin and Grace with a special interview. Thank you, Cassandra. Today we have an interview with the meteorologist, Grace. Now, can you tell me what these weather conditions are caused by?
Well, these weather conditions are caused by fronts moving through the area. A weather front is a border between 2 different air masses at the Earth's surface. These fronts cause storms, clouds, and changes in the temperature. There are cold fronts, warm fronts, stationary fronts, and implosion fronts. Air pressure also causes different weather. Higher pressure means more force on the Earth's surface, and lower pressure means less force. Higher pressure sinks and dries what it sinks, leaving sunny weather, while lower pressure rises and condenses into rain. Meteorologists use a barometer to measure how much air pressure is on the Earth. An uppercase H is used to indicate a high air pressure, while a uppercase L is used to indicate lower pressure.
How interesting. Can you tell me about weather maps?
Sure. Weather maps are used to show meteorological features. These have been used since the 1990s and use symbols to show air pressure, fronts, and weather conditions. For instance, a national weather map shows weather across the nation, such as temperature, rain, snow, or sun.
How cool. Could you tell us about how meteorologists predict the weather?
Of course. Nothing is ever definite in predicting. Everything can change in a matter of minutes. Meteorologists predict using thermometers, barometers, and anemometers. We also look at past weather conditions to help us make predictions.
Now, how does the northern hemisphere's weather differentiate from the southern hemisphere's weather?
First of all, they are different in the ways that the Coriolis effect affects them. The Coriolis effect is when the rotating movement of the Earth deflects the winds. Moving air that produces the winds tries to take the most direct route possible between different areas of pressure, but the Coriolis effect deflects them to the opposite direction. In the northern hemisphere, hemisphere, the winds are deflected to the right of the direction in which they are headed. In the southern hemisphere, they are deflected to the left. Another obvious way the weathers differ in the hemispheres is that northern winter is December, January, and February, whereas southern winter is in June, July, and August. This is due to the tilt of the Earth's axis and its revolution around the sun.
Wow, I've also heard about something called ocean currents can affect the weather. Is this true?
Yes, it is. Ocean currents are a product of circulation, also known as convection. This is mainly caused by differences in density in the water. More dense water will sink and less dense water will rise to the top. There are surface currents which move heat that the ocean absorbs and emits into the atmosphere, causing a rise in temperature. There is a constant cycle of heating and cooling of the water. Ocean currents also circulate water worldwide and impacts the movement of energy and moisture between the ocean and atmosphere. Warm always moves to cold and matter.
Can you tell us about the effects of warm water moving into an area?
Well, Caitlin, after warm water moves into an area, it can cause warmer weather, heavy rainfall, cloudy skies, violent thunderstorms, and it can also cause humidity levels to rise.
How about cold water? What are the effects of cold water coming into an area?
Cold currents cause less evaporation, less humidity, and very little rainfall, as well as dry conditions.
Those effects are very interesting, Grace. Could you tell us about how hurricanes form?
A hurricane forms whenever there is an intense low pressure over warm ocean waters. For them to be able to form, there must be three conditions. First, ocean waters must be warm. Second, the moisture from the ocean must combine with heat. And third, a wind pattern must be near.
Wow, I never knew that. Okay, Grace, I have one last question for you. How is weather created in a given area?
Weather is created in a given area in many different ways. One way is whenever the sun heats the atmosphere, the water evaporates and goes through the water cycle. Another is the sun heats the atmosphere, the air rises, and temperature drops. Wind is caused when high air pressure moves high to low, and fronts cause stormy weather. There is also different weather because of the uneven heating and differences in the atmosphere. They are pretty important.
Well, that's all we have today on Bronco News. Tune in next time for more weather. And another stationary front